What's going on, everybody? On YouTube, Steve here with Raiken Profit. In today's video, I wanted to share with you 5 tips to avoid when selling books on Amazon FBA. I've been selling books on Amazon FBA for almost 5 years now. I've sold thousands and thousands of books. And people always ask, what's the best way to get started, reselling or making money online? And I think when it comes to Amazon, books are one of the best ways to get started because, well, first of all, you can get the items super cheap, a quarter, 50 cents, sometimes $1 or $2 if you're, sourcing from garage sales or thrift stores, mostly thrift stores, but they're easy to ship and the profit margins are just extremely high based on what you have to compared to like other items. So I love selling books. I think books are a great way to get started making money, but there's a lot of mistakes that I made and there's quite a few mistakes that you're going to want to avoid. So, this video is really going to be for the beginner, someone who's just getting started, and I've got some handy dandy little notes here down that I want to cover with you guys. So, I'm going to get into the comments in a couple of minutes, but I want to say hello to everybody and let's just dive into the content and then I'll answer some questions. Mistake number 1 when selling books on Amazon FBA, people will look too deep into so there's something that's called a sales rank that's going to be attached to each book that you're going to list or sell on Amazon. And essentially that's an indicator of sales velocity selling. And a lot of people actually avoid a book if it's a million rank or a 2 million rank or a 3 million rank. And that's a big mistake right there because ranking is really just a snapshot in time in terms of the last time it sold and its overall sales velocity. And I've had books in the past that were 3 million, 4 million, 5 million rank that sold within a couple of days. So instead of just looking at the rank, I would take a look at what's the investment versus what's it selling for? What's the risk and reward? If you could pick up a book for, 50 cents and sell it for 80 bucks, even if it takes a year to sell and you get hit with some long-term storage fees, it's worth it. Also, not only what are the profit margins, what did you pay, but how many reviews are on that book? If it's got 100 reviews, 4.5, 5 star, there's a lot of social proof there. And I feel as if eventually, that book is going to sell because there's a demand there. So don't into the rank, right? Obviously, if you could find books 100,000, 200,000 rank, that's really where the fast turning money is. Rule of thumb, staying under 1 million rank is just a good, safe place to stay. But don't avoid higher ranked books if they have reviews, if the profit margins are there, and you could spend, sub $1 because you can lose, you could buy 10 books, $1 each, super high ranks with, $30, $40 profit margins built in. And only if one of them sell out of the 10 and you lose on 9, you can still turn a profit. So definitely keep that in mind for sure. Mistake number 2 when selling books on Amazon FBA, let me make sure everything's running smooth here, is not checking the restrictions. It's really important to make sure that the books aren't restricted. Over the last 3 or 4 years, there haven't really been a ton of restrictions with books. But as of late, there have been some restrictions with really popular high sales velocity books and certain brands. So you do want to take a look on the Amazon seller app if that's where you're using to scan books to make sure that it's not restricted. And I found that typically it's with the newer books as well. So definitely make sure that the books aren't restricted. Okay, cool. Just doing a quick sound check, making sure everything's running smooth. But that's really, really important right there. Mistake number 3 to avoid, and I see this often, is people, they'll have issues with the book. So maybe there's a ton of highlighting. Maybe there's a missing page. Maybe the page is ripped. Maybe it's missing a CD, right? Some of these textbooks have CDs for like the back end of like a math course or something like that, or like a workshop, or sometimes there's an access code. If your book is missing an access code, if it's missing a CD, if it's got a lot of rips or tears, or there's some issues with the book, always disclose this description, because the worst thing that you can do is, and under deliver, and then they get the book, they're disappointed and they refund it. And even worse than that is you could get a negative feedback. So you really want to avoid getting negative feedbacks because it doesn't take much for Amazon to suspend you, to boot you off, and you've got to keep certain seller metrics in line. So disclose. If there's any issues with the book, like I said, Under promise and over deliver. Don't over promise and under deliver. Don't say it's very good, like new, if there's issues with it, because it is going to bite you in the butt eventually. Number 4, the fourth mistake to avoid when selling books on Amazon FBA, up too soon. I can't tell you how many people have messaged me, DM'd me, sent me private messages saying, Steve, I went to the thrift store, I scanned a couple books, I didn't find anything, and I just gave up. When you're selling books, it's a numbers game. You've got to scan, 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 scan. And the more you scan, the better chance you have of finding a profitable book that can make you $10, $15, $20, $50, $100. So it's not like, even clothing is a little easier than books in terms of like the numbers game and how many you have to go through to find a profitable item from my experience where I live. But you got to scan plenty of books. And if you're not scan, become acquainted with the thrift stores. Get to know what's old stock, what's been sitting around, where the new inventory is. Build relationships with the people at the thrift stores or at the library sales, or create some type of creative books, whether it's, booksalefinder.com, through library sales, church sales, rummage sales, Craigslist, Facebook Market. There's so many ways to get it, but you got to become acquainted with that, and you've got to just scan. You've got to take plenty of shots. If you don't take the shot, you're never going to score. Number 5, the fifth mistake that I've noticed that a lot of booksellers make on Amazon is low. If you have a book that's ranked 20,000, 30,000, and it's right before school season, be the lowest person in line. So let's just say your book, it's accounting for beginners. Maybe it's a 20,000 rank. Maybe it's selling for $120. There's like 3 sellers. Maybe the first seller is 120. The second one's 160. The third one is 180. And then maybe it's going for like 220 new. Don't price it 120 at a 20,000 rank, because they're going to sell out. Go second in line, third in line, fourth in line. Really squeeze out those profits, because you're not going to find these $50, $100, $200 profit books all the time. So if you find a book that's hot selling, low rank, not a ton of FBA sellers, squeeze out as much profit as you can. You don't have to be the lowest one all the time, and you don't have to undercut them as well. 5 mistakes right there. Number 1, avoiding higher ranked books. Buy the higher ranked books. You don't have to buy a ton of them, but if there's plenty of profit in there and you could get them cheap and there's good reviews, don't avoid the 2, 3, 4 million ranked books. The ones you want to avoid is if there's not a lot of reviews, if you've got to pay $3, $4, $5 for the book and there's only like a $3, $4, $5 profit, I would avoid those. But if the margins are there and you could take enough shots in the dark with those low investment books, $30, $40, $50 profit, take a shot in the dark with a higher ranked book. Number 2, not checking restrictions. There's nothing worse than getting all pumped up and excited, bringing a book home, getting ready to list it, and it's restricted. It's the worst feeling in the world. So check it. When you're using the Amazon Seller app, you can actually check to see if it's restricted or not. It'll actually come up with like a red bar across. Other times it'll just say you cannot sell this in new or used condition. So always double check that. Not disclosing flaws. If it's missing a CD, if it's missing an access code, if the binding's coming apart, if there's a ton of highlighting, under promise and over deliver. Let them know. Get them ready for the experience of what that book is going to be like when it gets to them. Now, you don't want to beat a dead horse and say, has 1 line of highlighting, or there's word that's circled on page 77. You don't have to go that deep and that crazy into it. No, if there's major issues, you want to under promise, over deliver, set up that buyer experience so they're happy and, get a good feedback out of it. Giving up too soon, that's mistake number 4. Don't give up and quit so easy. Now, I do want to say, not everybody out there who is watching this video now or later on, a year, 2 years down the road, is going to be able to make money selling books on a regular basis. Why do I say that? Because there's going to be certain locations, AKA locations near colleges or universities, that are going to have better opportunities than others. If you live out in the middle of the boonies, in the middle of nowhere, you don't have a lot of, say, universities or schools, or it's not a very high educational area, high literacy and whatnot. You might not have a ton of opportunities with books. You might want to mess with clothing. You might want to start your own private label brand, or go wholesale or mess with electronics or computer items or different technologies like that. Books isn't for everybody. I want to say that. But if you've got, a lot of books in your area, and there's opportunities there, you're going to have to scan. And you might even want to invest in a Bluetooth scanner, which is essentially a little device, a little handheld device that connects via Bluetooth to your phone. Scan, using the scanning application, when you use the Bluetooth, it actually links up to your phone so you can see what's going on, and you can boom, 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 go really, really quick, scan as fast as possible. The faster you could scan. And then fifth is, pricing too competitively. If you've got a high book, some people say high or low, but if you have a really fast selling book, great rank, great reviews right before school season, or there's just a lot of demand for it, not a ton of FBA sellers, you don't have to be the lowest. Squeeze the profits out. And I also want to give you guys, I know I'm going quick, but I want to get this content in for you. I want to give you a couple more bonus tips. Another bonus tip is have the correct listing. The Amazon Seller app has a scanning functionality. It's a proprietary software. I believe it's called Flow. The Amazon Seller app. You can actually take a book, and instead of scanning the actual barcode on the back, you can actually scan the front of it, and it'll bring up the listing. But I've noticed a lot of times using this method, it'll bring up the wrong listing. Like it'll be like a completely different book. It'll look the same, but it's just a little different. You want to make sure that when you're scanning a book and you're saying, okay, it's going to sell for this is the market, that you have the right book. Further than that, you want to make sure that you have the right listing. Sometimes, let me put it this way, when this book first came out and somebody created the listing, they actually had to go into Amazon and create the listing, create the bullet points, create the title, put in the weight, create all the information. Well, as time went on, other people said, I don't like that listing, I'm going to create a new listing. So a lot of times you'll find multiple listings for the same book. The answer is find the lowest ranked listing and list under that one. Why? Because the lowest rank is going to be the fastest seller. That's where people are buying from. That's where Amazon's ranking, so on and so forth. You might find this listing, one of them 20,000 ranks selling for $10, and then another listing selling for $40. Don't get confused and think you have a $40 book when in all actuality, you're actually listing or you're looking at the wrong listing. So that's really, really important right there. But books are a great item to sell. Not only do I like to sell books, but as you can see, a little shoe collection. I love to read books, and books are just great. A lot of times I'll buy a book, I'll read it, and then I'll send it in and make some money with it. So it's really, really cool. Abundant. They're everywhere. Thrift stores, garage sales. Check out booksalefinder.com to find local library sales in your area, which are one of the best ways to find like a mass amount of books at a cheap price. Just keep in mind when you go to these library sales, especially if there's, 10, 20, 30, 50,000 books, you're going to find a lot of, experienced what they're doing, and it's going to be competitive. So you're going to want to move quickly. But books are great. I think Mama Profits, if you guys don't know Mama Profits, that's my mother. She's in the comments because I told her about this live stream, and I actually had helped her to get started selling books almost 5 years ago, and she's doing great. And she came from a place where she didn't have a lot of understanding of the computer world and technologies and software, and she didn't even know how to use her phone. Like I had to teach her everything. And she's awesome. She knows what she's doing. She knows more than I do now. She's quick. And, I guess the point I'm trying to circle around to is it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your initial education. If you don't understand like scanning softwares and how to ship into Amazon, it's all a learnable skill. And, channels like mine and hundreds of others that are even better and have more information, you can learn everything about this business, right? And there's tons of courses out there. If you guys haven't checked out Book Selling 101, definitely check out that course. It's the first link in the description. I'm actually affiliated with that course. It's by my good buddy, Jim Pickens, who has a massive book selling business. He created a whole step-by-step course, but there's so much information out there to get started. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. So let me go into the comments and see if I could answer some questions. So if you guys have any questions about selling books, feel free to drop a comment down below. Forge Your Own Path. What's going on? Good to see you. The Masked Flipper in the house. 27 Zach McClea, greetings from Pittsburgh, PA. What's going on? Good to see you. We got Paul Marles in the house. Carol, Cade. You know, I want to mention I have my buddy Jesse Forbes. He's going to be coming on the YouTube channel. I think it's mid-November. He actually has a really successful book selling business, and he's branched out into his own bookstore. And he's going to be talking about his progress that he's made not only on Amazon, but his own physical location, which is really cool. There's just so many different branches and opportunities when selling books. It's just really cool. You can take it really anywhere. Mauricio says, don't read them, just sell them. You know, don't get high on your own supply, right? You know, it's just one of the benefits of selling books. And that's why I loved getting started selling clothing on eBay. That was like my first, well, it was like my second business, because I got to like wear like super high-end Italian, like designer brands, wear them, enjoy them, try not to stain them up, and then resell them on eBay. So, you know, that's one of the coolest things about selling in general. So we got Matt Bowler asking, I might be late to this, but do you FBA or merchant fulfill your books? Them. You know, years ago, we used to merchant fulfill the books. And when I say we, my mother and I, we don't have the same business. You know, we have different businesses, but we work together alongside a lot of times thrifting and sourcing and different things. But we had started as merchants, and pros and cons to being a merchant versus FBA. You know, you can make more money on certain books as a merchant versus FBA because of the fees. But the biggest benefit of FBA for me is the time and the scalability, right? You go out, you source a couple hundred books, you box them up, you ship them off to FBA, which is fulfillment by Amazon. And when they sell, Amazon picks them, packs them, ships them, deals with customer service. And it's a very scalable business model. Whereas when you're a merchant, books, you've got to list them, and then you have to store them, right? So finding, like, imagine if you had 2,000 or 3,000 books, just storing all those books, how much of a hassle that could be if you don't have a ton of space. Then, but being able to identify where they are when they sell every single day. I mean, for me, it's just not a viable option considering I run multiple businesses right now. Fulfilled by Amazon. I don't sell as a merchant, and I think there's a lot more benefits to FBA versus a merchant. I think you could actually, in general, for most books, make more money FBA, but there are certain opportunities. The merchant, I'm not an expert with that, and I don't fully understand all of it because I don't practice selling as a merchant, but I know just from what I've heard from others, there's pros and cons to both. William says, I purchased Jim's course, lots of great information. I have learned a lot. So in the description for anyone who's wondering. And one thing that I like about the course is for people who want to scale the business, he actually has a module that talks about, it's a more advanced software. And what you can do with FBA Scan is you can set up triggers. Scanning at the bookstore, and they might have on, maybe they have like in their ear or something like that, and they're just scanning books, but they're not actually looking at their screen. Have you ever wondered what they're doing? Like, how are they scanning without actually analyzing? Well, in Jim's course, he has a section talking about setting up triggers. And what you can do is you can set up these different rules in your software. For example, when you scan a book, if the book has a certain amount of profit, or if it's a certain rank, or there's just some criteria that you set up, if it matches that criteria, it'll actually make a noise in your ear. It'll just make a noise. And those are certain triggers. You could set up these certain rules to be able to scan faster because you're not having to actually put your time in to analyze it. The software does it itself. So FBA Scan currently right now, because I'm only selling books part-time, so I'm just using the Amazon Seller app. But someone who wants to scale, that's a really cool thing that he teaches. And I know it's a little sophisticated to get set up. At least when I was doing it, it was kind of a challenge to set up initially. So definitely look into that. I do good with religion books. Yeah. You know, I've had a lot of success with religious books as well. I notice a lot of people avoid that section. I don't know for one reason or another, but I've actually sold quite a bit of like Bibles and Bible studies. They do really, really well. And the more odd, unique, different, rare a book is, it could actually make some good money. It says a lot of YouTube resellers do great on Bibles. Look out for Bibles that are brand new in the packaging as well, with the wrapper around it. I noticed those do extremely well. expert when it comes to Bible, so I really don't know, treasure hustlers, if all Bibles bring in good money. I guess it depends on its rarity and just myself, so I don't fully understand it. But I would just scan them and see if there's any money there. Black Knight Coding, I'm making my first bulk product purchase from China this week to do Amazon FBA. I've done a lot of research and just want to take action. Thanks for the videos. Hey, very cool. I was just doing a little training today with the Amazing Selling Machine and looking over some private label content as well. So I'm looking forward to you on the private label what am I trying to say, on the private label journey very, very soon. So I was doing some research, watching some videos, and using Jungle Scout, which was really cool. Says there's a built-in community of readership. Grant Williams says, I was using FBA Scan, but I've switched to Scout IQ. It's a great app. The S-score is a game changer. Made it so easy to make a buying decision. Yeah, I've heard of Scout IQ, Grant, but I don't know much about it. So I'm definitely interested to hear a little more about it. What's the pricing on that compared to FBA Scan? Because I know the pro account, like the top-notch account on FBA Scan, I think it was like $40 a month when I was using it. But Scout IQ, that sounds pretty interesting. Just looking to see if there's any other questions. Avery Martin's asking, what's the highest sales rank to use? Out profit technique. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Like I said, I'll go up to ranks of 3 to 4 million, but I want to make sure that I'm not investing a lot of money. I want to make sure the reviews are there. I want to make sure there's not like a gazillion merchants, and like I want to make sure that merchants aren't starting at like $5 and then FBA's at like 80, because that's a big indicator of just like a mismatch in the market. And I just feel like someone with that big of a gap between the merchant price at 5 and a merchant price and an FBA price of like 80, just going to go with the merchant price and wait 5-7 days and deal with any horrible customer service experiences that might happen. So, I'll go up to that highest rank, but if I'm dealing with a lower rank, sub 500K, even sub million, I try to be not only competitive, but I don't want to be the lowest price. You don't have to always undercut. So Black Knight says, what? I'm a member of the amazing.com. I didn't do the full on Amazing Selling Machine course, but I'm using the library at Amazing to get started. Did you do the ASM course? I've actually gone through some of the course material in the past, but now I am a full member, so I'm going through the modules. Essentially, they release the modules each and every week. It's a 8-week program, so I'm going through that alongside with a couple other courses that some of my buddies have created on Teachable. So I'm going through a lot of different things right now, and I'm in the beginning stages. But yeah, welcome to ASM, Black Knight. Sure says Scout IQ, try it out, Steve. Doesn't cost anything right now in beta. Ooh, very interesting. So Brian Fisher, thanks for the tip. Everyone should go check out Scout IQ. He's given some good reviews about it. From what I heard, it's going to be $40 a month. Sure. What scanner do you use when scanning books? To be honest, right now, I'm only selling books part-time. So there's some weeks I don't even, because I'm just working on different businesses. But like when I go full-fledged into it, or I'm just scanning right now, I'm just using the Amazon Seller app with my iPhone 6s Plus. I did used to use a handheld Bluetooth scanner. It was the Scan Fob, and I was using FBA Scan. I cut back on selling books just because I'm doing other things right now. I actually am not using FBA Scan right now. But again, if I was to go full force, I would have a Bluetooth scanner and I would use FBA Scan money and be resourceful. So I'm just using the Amazon Seller app right now and just scanning with that. It's slower, but I have a kind of a different technique at my how do I put it? I have kind of a different technique at my thrift stores because I know the book so well. Is this thing sticking onto my shirt? But I know the color, the color coding system so well. I actually more or less pick and choose. And I wouldn't recommend this method for the average person. I would just recommend scanning everything. But once you get to know your bookstore at your local thrift stores, which is the I go to, I more or less pick and choose, and I have relationships with the employees at the thrift stores, and I could get like access to these books before they even come out sometimes. I more or less use the pick and choose method. So that's why the Amazon seller app works, and it's somewhat quicker. Get a Bluetooth scanner. Steve, what are all the things you do? I feel like you're in 300 different things at one time. You're always on the move. I actually have a free course that I'm going to be creating soon, and it's going to be about my 9 income streams that I currently have right now. Just to shout a couple of them out, I have a publishing business, so Kindle publishing, Create Space, and it's very, very passive. I spend like last year, I literally spent like no time on it at all because I already have 200 products that are created in that business. So it's just more of like a maintenance, and I really don't do anything in that. I have a YouTube channel. I do affiliate marketing, different internet marketing, selling on eBay, Amazon FBA. I have a Shopify store. I'm trying to think what else I do. I already mentioned the YouTube channel. I sell different products. I have a membership site. So a bunch of different things, selling books, clothing, all these different things. But I kind of cycle on and off, like a jack of all trades, master of none. And I don't say that just to be humble, but that's just kind of how I like it to be. Like, I like to switch things up. It's just my personality. So I have a lot of businesses that are passive that generate on a regular basis. I mean, in all my businesses, I've been making over $10,000 a month profit for a while now. And a lot of those businesses, at least probably 5 to 7K per month, is very, very passive, especially like, you know, the Google AdSense with YouTube. I make pretty good money making these YouTube videos. I have different products that I promote, like Book Selling 101 in the, you know, I have a membership site that generates revenue. All my Kindle books, my Create Space books generate revenue without me having to do anything. So the active forms of income on Amazon, selling other items on Amazon, selling on eBay, a lot of clothing, different things like that. And then other active things as well as like creating YouTube videos and affiliate marketing and different things like that. So I do a lot of different things, but I built it up over the last 5 years and process. And I also sell on Craigslist as well. I sell a lot of bicycles, not a ton. It cycles on and off. But I sell bikes and bigger items. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, I just flipped a really, really cool Cannondale road bike, picked it up and it went for really good money. So Craigslist is a great way to make some quick cash as well. And yeah, I sell on Merch by Amazon as well, but I'm not super duper active with Merch by Amazon right now. I want to be honest. That's an area that I've been lacking on. It's just, you know, the hardest part, like getting it off the ground. So like once you get plenty of books in your inventory, like it's kind of like it manages itself in a sense, and then you just replenish every now and then. Kindle publishing took a ton of time to get started. Like I went full blast in that for a while. You know, YouTube, I've been making videos for now, you know, I might make a couple $1,000s a month plus just from Google ads and different things like that. But you got to understand, I put in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours building up a catalog of really useful and helpful videos. Well, I like to think they are. Do a bunch of different things, but yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. Do you sell clothes on eBay and Amazon? I do. I don't sell a ton of clothing on Amazon currently right now, definitely more on eBay. So if you're approved and you're ungated in clothing, there's definitely an opportunity there, especially if you have any Goodwill outlets in your area. Check those out. Carol says race to the bottom sucks. You know, sometimes there is a situation where you want to undercut and you want to get your money back. You know what I mean? Have to undercut, especially with retail arbitrage. You know, it gets people really, really angry when people are undercutting. But certain books and stuff, like sometimes it's okay to undercut. Like, you know, if school season just started and I have a high-end book that's like going for 150, but I know the class has already started, I'm gonna probably undercut other sellers think because I want to make my money and get out of that before people start returning the book and people start undercutting each other. So you got to be strategic. Avery asks, can you list a book as new if you buy it from a thrift store, but it is in flawless condition? You can. I've done it before, but it's where you might get yourself in trouble. I like to underpromise and overdeliver. It just depends on your risk tolerance as well. Is it worth getting a negative feedback? You know, certain books are wrapped up in that little cellophane plastic. Other books are brand new that you buy from the bookstore and they don't even have a wrapping around it. So just make sure that there's no wrapping that's supposed to be around it and somebody's going to call you out and return it. Do it. But again, under promise and over deliver. Don't try to beat the system for an extra $5 profit. Think of the long game. Think of building up think about just, you know, making sure you have a strong account that can make you money for the long term. How do you manage your time? Right now, I'm really big into Trello. So I use a lot of Trello boards, and I talked about it in a previous video. I don't necessarily work a ton every day. Like on average, I probably work 3 to 4 hours. There are some days where I work 8 hours. You know, I've done 10-hour days. But on average, I probably work like 4 hours or less. I'm focusing a lot more on like businesses that are more passive. Obviously, if I was like full-time eBay or full-time Amazon or a full-time reseller, I wouldn't be able to do that. But since a lot of my time as of late is focused in on, you know, my YouTube channel, on creating products, affiliate marketing, different things like that, my Shopify store, I could scale a lot of it. And I'm working with 5 virtual assistants now. I have 3 that I work with on a good part-time plus basis, 20 to 40 hours a week. So I use Trello. I like to focus on tasks each and every day. And each and every day, I like to have like a list of things that I want to do. And I like to spend 2-hour blocks of what I call execution time. So I'll either go to like a library, go to like a coffee shop, and I'll have like a main objective that I want to do, or 3 or 4 main objectives. And I literally am like zoned in 100% focused, and I just crush it. Like I work really, really quick when I'm working. So like if I have something, like I can do things that take that might take the average person 6 hours in 2 hours, because I'll just get laser focused and block everything else out. How do you come up with your YouTube content? A lot of times it's either looking through questions that people have, like I'll go through my comments, or it's something that I'm going through like in my life in general, development and motivational videos, because I've got a lot of like things that I'm working on, and a lot of things I'm trying to improve, and a lot of flaws that I'm dealing with, and just negative mindset things that I've been struggling with and working on over the last 4 or 5 years, coming from entrepreneurship. And as I'm trying to grow my businesses and make more money, improve myself and lose weight, there's a lot of limiting beliefs and challenges that I'm facing. So when I face those and I overcome them, I like to share them with and so I just kind of, you know, share exactly what I'm going through. But yeah, I think that's about it for this video. I don't want to get too off topic. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any more questions, feel free to drop a comment down below. If you want to learn how to sell books on Amazon FBA, I've got a ton of free videos on my YouTube channel. Also, check out Resells on YouTube. He's got a great YouTube channel. Check out Book Selling 101. It's the first link down in the description. And yeah, have an amazing day. Have a great weekend. And yeah, take care. Thanks for watching.